Cameron Wood is with the Nature Conservancy of Canada. Cameron, tell me what's happening to Saskatchewan's wetlands.
Well, a lot of our wetlands are actually in decline, especially in the settled portion of the province here. So if we look at kind of the southern portion of the province, it's something about 70% of our wetlands have actually been lost or degraded in an extreme way, which is a real significant thing because wetlands provide all kinds of services, both environmental for wildlife as well as for kind of humans as well.
Is there any way to get that back, that 70% that's lost?
Well, we can do kind of some wetland restoration projects, which really helps to restore a lot of those functions, but the loss is continuing every year from things like urban and industrial development and agriculture and really kind of any kind of land use change on our landscape.
And how does that impact those of us that don't normally come into contact with wetland areas in our province?
Well, wetlands have a lot of goods and services that they provide us. Things like filtering our water. So if we have good, healthy wetlands upstream of our city water sources, it can actually help to filter our drinking water and really kind of reduce some of our water filtration costs. And also things like capturing and storing water, which helps kind of prevent floods or at least mitigate the impacts of floods, and then slowly releasing that water kind of during some drought periods to kind of help combat those issues as well.
What can we do as citizens in the province to try and turn this ship around when it comes to our wetlands?
Well, really one of the first big things is to kind of know and understand some of these services that wetlands are providing us and to kind of share that knowledge with others. And then supporting organizations like Nature Conservancy of Canada, as well as other conservation organizations to help support our work for preserving our wetlands that are left and trying to restore some of those impacted wetlands.
What will happen if we don't stop this decline in losing our wetlands?
Well, there's obviously going to be major impacts to biodiversity. It's going to only further accentuate things like floods and those sorts of things. Going to impact our water supplies, both the timing of our availability as well as the quality of our water. And wetlands are actually really beneficial kind of to reduce the impacts of climate change. They capture and store a lot of carbon, and some of those other benefits really help to kind of reduce the overall impact that climate change can have.
What about the waterfowl and that make use of those spaces? What happens to them when there's nowhere to go?
Yeah, the loss of wetlands is actually one of the biggest threats to waterfowl, as well as to all kinds of other birds as well. So the more loss that occurs and all those declines that happen will have a major impact on waterfowl populations as well as a broad suite of other birds and wildlife. Something like 80% of our wild species on the landscape use wetlands as part of their life cycle.
Thanks for your time today, Cameron.
Well, thanks for having me.